When you think of an ancient Indian temple, what comes to mind? Probably stone, maybe some ceremony, right? Prayer? But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if these incredible places were actually designed to be something much, much more complex? Something intentional? Let's get into it. So let's just ask the question right out of the gate. Are these places just stone and prayer? Are they really just about faith and tradition? Or are we looking at something else entirely? A kind of ancient technology, almost like a form of biohacking. But instead of silicon chips and code, this tech is built from stone, from sacred geometry, from sound. And it's all designed to do one thing, to literally engineer your consciousness, to tune your mind. Okay, so to really get this, we need to start with the basic premise, the ancient blueprint. And the core idea is this: these temples were never just buildings. Think of them more like finely tuned energetic instruments. And they were all built following a very, very specific plan. And that plan, that blueprint, it doesn't even start with the first stone. Nope, it starts with the ground itself. It's all about this fundamental principle of tuning our own bodies to the frequency of the earth. You see, where they built these temples was absolutely not random. They were strategically placed on what we now call geomagnetic hotspots. These are places where the planet's own natural electromagnetic field is way, way stronger, much more concentrated and powerful. And this energy, it isn't just random static. It has a very specific frequency. It's called the Schumann resonance. Some people call it the Earth's heartbeat. It buzzes along at around 7.83 hertz. Now, remember that number. Seriously, 7.83. It is the key to this whole thing. Okay, so here's where it gets really mind-blowing. That number, 7.83 hertz, it maps almost perfectly onto our own biology. It sits right at that sweet spot between our alpha and theta brainwaves. And if you know anything about brain states, you know that's the zone for relaxation, for light meditation, for deep internal focus. And get this, when they take measurements inside the most sacred part of the temple, the sanctum, the energy there is resonating in that exact range. The whole environment is literally designed to gently push your brain into that calm state without you even trying. So you might be wondering, how does that even work? Well, it's a really cool principle from physics called entrainment. It's a natural phenomenon. Like if you hang two grandfather clocks on the same wall, after a while, their pendulums will start swinging in perfect sync. It's wild. The same thing happens here. The temple's powerful, steady frequency acts like the first clock, and your brain's own chaotic energy is the second clock. It just naturally starts to sync up, to entrain, to that calm, meditative rhythm. All right, so the location is key, but what about the building itself? How does the architecture amplify all this? Well, from the ground up, the temple's structure is basically an engine. This isn't just passive architecture just sitting there. No way, it's active. It's almost like it breathes energy. A lot of these temples are built using granite, and granite is packed with quartz crystals. Now, quartz has this really cool property called piezoelectricity. All that means is when you squeeze it, when you apply pressure, it actually creates a little bit of electricity, a measurable electric charge. So, let's connect the dots here. You've got literally millions of tons of granite pushing down on itself. Then you add the constant vibrations from things like chanting and bells. And what happens? The temple itself becomes a giant piezoelectric generator. It's creating its own subtle but very real energy field that you're standing right in the middle of. And then this energy is mapped directly onto your own psychology. There's this ancient architectural science called Vastu Shastra, and it says the layout of the temple is designed to mirror the human body. So as you physically walk through it, you start at the gopuram, the feet, move through the main hall, the chest, and end up at the heart, the inner sanctum. You are subconsciously aligning yourself with the building. It's a journey designed to create this deep sense of inner balance. And this idea goes even deeper, right into the sacred geometry they used. Take something like the Sri Chakra. You see how it's made of these interlocking triangles. Some point up, representing masculine cosmic consciousness, and others point down, representing feminine cosmic energy. The idea is that just by looking at this perfectly balanced geometric form, it helps to harmonize the two sides of your own brain, the logical and the creative. It acts like a visual anchor for your mind. Okay, so we've got the Earth's energy and the architecture. But that's not all. There's a whole other layer, sound. And the sound you hear inside a temple, it is not just for atmosphere. It's a tool, precisely engineered to have a direct effect on your nervous system. Just check out this number, 251%. That's how much the power of your brainwaves can increase just by listening to a traditional temple bell. I mean, wow. That's not just a nice little ding, right? That is a major neurological event happening inside your head. And there's a reason for that. These bells are basically ancient high-tech instruments. They're made from a special 5-metal alloy, so their vibration is super stable. They're designed to produce these specific beat frequencies that actually sync up with your theta brainwaves, the deep meditation ones. And the sound is so complex and rich that your brain can't just ignore it or get used to it. The long, fading ring, it literally acts like a reboot for all that mental chatter. And it's the same idea with chanting mantras. If you look at it from a brain science perspective, chanting gives your brain a job to do. It's a top-down task. And by focusing on that, you're essentially telling another part of your brain to quiet down. That part is called the default mode network. It's the self-talk network. It's the voice in your head that just goes and goes. And it's often way overactive when people feel anxious. Chanting helps turn the volume down on it. So, okay. We've got this incredible machine, right? It's built from earth, stone, and sound. But the big question is, does it actually work? Let's look at some of the real-world evidence. And it's totally fair to be skeptical. This all sounds amazing, but where's the proof? Is there any actual modern clinical data to back up these claims? Well, as it turns out, yes. There was a clinical study done at a place called the Muthuswami Temple. This is a place that has long been a sanctuary for people with pretty serious mental health conditions. And the results? They are just stunning. With no medication at all, just by living in the temple environment, patients saw, on average, a 20% drop in their psychiatric symptoms. To put that in perspective, that's the kind of improvement you see with some powerful medications. And it's not just that one place. At other temples, like Chattanakara, you see a totally different approach. They use these really intense sensory rituals. And what this does is create a space that allows for catharsis, a safe, structured way for people to finally let out and process trauma and emotions that have been buried for a long, long time. Which really brings us to the big takeaway here. Is all this stuff just a cool history lesson? Or can his ancient wisdom actually help us today with our modern, completely overstressed minds? And the answer seems to be a resounding yes. You can see it in modern places like the Dhyanalinga, or the massive meditation hall at the Heartfulness Institute, or even the Matrimandir in Auroville. These places are the direct descendants of this ancient tech. They are using the exact same principles, consecrated ground, careful symmetry, sound resonance, to build spaces that help people find that deep meditative state, even people who have never meditated before in their lives. And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If ancient people had this profound understanding of how to build spaces that could literally heal our minds, what does that say about the environments we build for ourselves every single day? Our homes, our offices, our cities, what frequency are they tuning us to?